Okay, I think I'm doing this right now. Okay, so welcome everybody. This is my first YouTube Live. I'm going to be doing my plan with me basically for the week. I personally plan my week for 6 days. I usually try to take one day off, and I do my best to plan every single Monday. I tried different days before, and I feel like Monday just works the best for me. So I figured I would take you guys along on the ride because I think that one, it'll help me keep accountable, and two, I think that a lot of people have a lot of overwhelm, a big feeling of overwhelm when it comes to trying to figure out how to be more organized, how to be more productive, and it's not easy. You know, it takes a lot of work. You have to start somewhere very basic, and then work your way up to those more complex systems and the apps and all those things. And so what I'm going to show you today is basically my Notion setup. I want to show you guys what 2 years of work on my productivity system has brought me to. But, you know, that just to say 2 years is a really long time. You know, it's a really long time to come up with a system, and I'm still working on it, and as days go by I continue to make observations about my setup that I feel work, and then I take away the things that don't work in my system. But it's a continuous observation system that helps me to improve on my productivity. So I'm going to be showing you that today. I'm going to share my screen so that I can basically do a walkthrough first. And I can tell you a little bit about Notion and why I decided to go with Notion, because you'll see in my previous videos, if you're subscribed to my channel, or if you want to check out my channel, I used to religiously use Todoist and Evernote and Trello here and there, and I decided to just kind of steps outside of my comfort zone, because I'm the type of productivity person that always wants to know what's out there and what's the new and improved thing that everyone's using for productivity. And so Notion was that thing, and I decided to kind of test it for a little while, and I just found that it worked really well for me because it was just that one-stop shop that hit almost all the marks. And you know, I also have to say that there's not going to be one productivity system that's going to hit every single mark for you. You're going to find as you go through that you wish that one app or a software had a certain feature and they don't have it, and this other one does. And it's all about playing around with things, because you have to realize that productivity starts with your own flow and your own system. And then you look for the tools that work within your own flow and your own system that you can kind of easily integrate into your own thing. You don't, I used to always just think, oh, I'm going to buy this planner, or I'm going to start using this app, and then I'm going to just change the way I do things so that it fits within that system. And it never worked with me. And I feel like that's why things didn't stick. It was just always me trying to fit into a box. And instead of me being me and letting those products and services and all those things work with what I'm already doing, because it just takes so much work already, right? To be organized and try and stay on top of stuff. That already takes a lot of work. And then trying to figure out a system on top of that, it's not easy when you're trying to completely then change your whole thought process and system. So this is what works for me. You don't have to use Notion if you don't want to. I just figured I would show you what I'm using and how I use it in a food business setting, so that you can use it to your own, you know, to your own system and create your own thing. And hopefully this will just inspire you to create your own system and maybe take a few things that I'm already using that really make sense for you. Okay, so let me share my screen. And forgive me because this is my first time doing alive here. Chrome. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm seeing. Hold on one second. Can you guys see my Notion setup? Hopefully you can. Hold on one second. I should have been more prepared. Sorry, guys. I don't think you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, no, you can't see it. Let's see here. Okay, so let me try this again. Sorry, guys. So if you're just joining in, welcome. I'm going live on YouTube for the first time today, and I am trying to show you guys my screen, which has Notion on it, and I am struggling to share my screen right now. So let me try again. Let me see here if I can try this again. Ooh, that's not it. Sorry, guys. Do that. Sorry. Okay, so let's try this again. Here's my screen, and then this is not great. For whatever reason, I'm not able to show you my Chrome. I tap Chrome. This is wonderful. Love this for me. Okay, so while I'm figuring this out, let me just explain Notion. So if you guys have never heard of Notion, it is basically it's an app that syncs across all your devices. I'm in the Apple ecosystem, so I have an iPad, I have a Mac Mini, and I have an iPhone, and all the information syncs across all my devices, which is awesome. The free version basically allows you to just use it almost unlimited, practically. Now it does. It didn't in the past, but you're able to basically use the free version with a lot of features. And it's basically a Trello board, a spreadsheet, like a spreadsheet software like Excel or Google Sheets. It has a lot of functionalities like that as well. You're able to use it as a document. You can kind of even do a preliminary, easy WYSIWYG type website. I use Notion for that as well when I share wholesale information to potential clients. So there's a lot that you can do with Notion, even on the free version. If you want to go into the paid versions, I have a paid version because the main reason I decided to go with the paid is because I want to be able to share it with my husband, Charlie, because we we have a lot of things that we cover when it comes to our food business, Ninong's Dessert Lab. And so we collaborate on Notion for all those things. And he doesn't really use productivity apps a lot. It's not his thing. Obviously, it's something that I'm obsessed with, but it's not a big component to his workflow. And so the reason why it worked really well for us is because I need to know what's going on, and this is the best way. It's the best way for us to share that information. And then on top of that, I can create those workflows to help him create those tasks and keep track of the projects, because he's more an action person. He just realizes he has something that he needs to get done. There's something that he needs to do. So he just does it. Whereas me, I have all these thoughts going on in my head, and I keep thinking, oh, I need to do this. We should really start on that project. Oh, because of that project, there's something that I need to do. And I need a place to jot that down or it'll never get done. And so since I'm that type of person, Notion allows me to create those tasks for him and then tag him and share it with him so that he doesn't have to do it. He doesn't technically need to go into Notion and create a new task. I can do that, assign it to him, and then he can just mark it done when it's done, and it sends him a notification when I tag him in a task. So that's another reason why I decided to go with the paid version. I believe in the free version, you're able to invite people to certain documents, to certain workspaces, but there's a big difference as to how you collaborate. And for me, it was worth the investment to actually go into the paid version so that it was just more seamless. Sharing and collaborating is a little more complicated in the free version. But if you're a solopreneur, or if you're just starting out and you're not really collaborating with team members or anything like that yet, or you don't have staff, then this free version of Notion is going to be more than enough. And I love that is the situation. When Notion first came out, I tried it, and they had a really small cap on what you're able to do on the free version, and really quickly I hit that cap, and then I wasn't able to use it anymore. So I kind of abandoned it. I went back to my original system, which was Evernote and Todoist, and then finally they changed it. So now Notion they must have gotten a lot of feedback, and they changed that so that on the free version you could really explore what the capabilities are. And I think for a food business, the reason why I really like Notion is because every food business operates differently. And I think that's something that we don't bring up a lot in the food industry. I feel like everyone thinks that all food businesses should run a certain way, and that's not the case. Just like any other business, there's a lot of things that are customizable based on your operation and what you sell and how you sell it. So because of that, I really think that it's important that you're able to customize these workflows as you go, so that you can learn. As you learn, you can change them. Whereas other productivity systems, you have to do it the way that they set it up, and there's not a lot of workaround. With software apps like Notion or even Evernote, the sky is the limit. It just depends on what their features offer, and then how you run your system, and then you can really do almost anything with it. So that's the great thing about productivity apps like this. Okay, so I'm going to try and share my screen again. Having trouble with that. 1 second. Comments. Another thing that is great about Notion is I don't have to share everything with everyone, which I really appreciate. So I have my own personal Notion that I don't need to share with Charlie, my husband, who collaborates with me on our food business. Our food business is called Ninong's Dessert Lab. And so I know that productivity tends to overwhelm people. And so I have my own system and I only share what's necessary with other people. But as a productivity nerd, I love being able to have my own space where I can nerd out and do my own thing. So that is really important to me. Okay, so what's going on? My pour is not showing. Okay, why isn't my Google Chrome showing? Let's try again. So let's open this up. Nothing there. It won't show up. Sorry guys, technical difficulties. Hold on one second. I know what to do. I'm going to text my trusty coach for YouTube and tell her I can't figure out how to share my screen, my browser. Sorry guys for the technical difficulties. Okay, so if I can't figure it out, then might as well go back here. Okay. So, main thing that I wanted to talk about too is there's nothing wrong with pen and paper. When it comes to your system, I actually suggest that you start with pen and paper first. That way you can really map out what your day looks like. So start with your rhythm. What do you normally do the moment you get up, and then all the way down to the moment you put your head down and go to sleep. Even when you're laying in bed, because let's be real, as entrepreneurs, a lot of us lay down in bed and we're looking on our phones and we're thinking about tasks and doing those things. If you don't, man, more power to you, because I do that all the time. But I want to kind of share that as well, because a lot of people think that I just ran with it. You know, I started my productivity journey with like being on top of all of my tasks all the time, and I can tell you that that is 100% not the case. So what I had to do when I really started getting in the flow of my own system was I really worked on figuring out how I naturally run my day. Even if it was stuff that I didn't want to do, or I didn't want to admit that I actually do. Things like opening up my phone and scrolling through Instagram. I realize I take a lot of time, right? Like a lot of screen time that actually doesn't do anything. I realize that I do a lot of that, and I needed to work on that. I listed those things down in my natural rhythm, and I had to sort through what I wanted to keep in my natural rhythm of the day, and then I created a list of things that I wanted to take out and things that I didn't want to be part of my office hours or my work hours anymore, because it would just take up so much time that didn't do anything, i.e. scrolling through Instagram. So being honest with yourself and figuring out what your day really looks like, the good and the bad, is really, really important. And then from there, you can improve. I really don't think that something sticks until you really get honest with the whole situation and then you can change and improve. There was something that I read in Atomic Habits. If you guys haven't read Atomic Habits, I highly recommend it if you're interested in productivity. Definitely look into that book. But one thing that he mentioned is you have to improve what's already there before you can add things on. He said it obviously a lot better than I did, but the principle remains true. You can't say that you want to do something new until you either get rid of something that you were doing before or get really good at what you're already doing. And when it comes to food businesses, it's very much so the same. You want to be known for one thing and you want to get really, really good at it. It's so easy as food businesses to want to offer tons of different products or have a huge menu because you want to reach as many people as possible. But really, people are going to remember you for one thing. And so you want to get really good at that one thing. Never be complacent about it. Just continue to taste it and ask yourself, can I make this better? Can I make it a little tastier? Is there something that I can do to elevate the experience when people eat it? It's the same idea when it comes to your productivity. If you want to say, start adding workouts to your daily routine, yeah, that's great, but where are you going to fit it in? That means you have to get really good at your productivity and really tackling your to-do list, right? Because usually we'll say, okay, I need to do all these work things, and then once I do all these work things, I can do personal things. That's mostly how people operate and think about tasks, right? Like a lot of us, especially in the United States, prioritize work, and then once we do work, we reward ourselves with some type of personal or pleasure task. So if you think I have to do these 5 tasks today, and then once I do that, I can work out, then you need to figure out how can I be as productive as possible so I can get all of that done sooner rather than later. And you want to get really good at those things so that you can make more time for those things that you want to do. And that just, like I said, it parallels with your products and the stuff that you offer. It's the same mentality. And if you can train your mind to think that way, then it will help in so many different ways, not just in productivity, but in a lot of other things in your business too. I'm going to move this curtain a little bit so that it's not too, there we go. The light can adjust a little bit so that it's not too bright in here. But anyway, so that is something that we all have to do. So for example, for me, my natural flow is I wake up in the morning. Ideally, I would get up before everybody else does, but I don't do that. So let's just be honest here, right? This is like the real honest truth of what my day looks like. So I'll typically wake up after the baby and after my husband does. I'll feed the baby for a little while, and then after that, I'll get up. I'll kind of get ready for the day, make myself some coffee, and while I'm doing all that, I'm on my phone. I'm looking at Instagram, I'm checking DMs, I'm checking to see if people saw or commented on any of our posts. And from there, I'll drink my coffee. And then after that, I'll sit with Micah, my son, for a while, let him play. And then once he goes down for his nap, I'll tend to work on something. I'll usually have an hour or so before he wakes up. So I'll try to be as productive as possible, but honestly, let's be real, I'm not that productive. I tend to scroll on Instagram, or I'll get caught up in email and I'll get derailed off of, what I'm supposed to actually be doing in front of my computer. Next thing you know, he wakes up. So when he wakes up, I feed him, and then after that, we'll play for a little while, for about an hour or so, and then he'll have lunch. From there, then he'll go down for another nap, and who knows how long that's going to be, maybe an hour. And then I go back to trying to get something productive done, whether it's for work or for the house. I have about an hour. Do I really, I don't know if I'm really productive or not for that hour. And then he wakes up, I do it again, and then he goes to sleep. It's very small, limited intervals of time where I can actually get work done. And I have to admit that I need to be better at doing that, at actually being productive. I'm definitely not. I wish I was, but this is where it starts, right? This is where it starts. I admit that I need to do better, and I have to ask myself, what are things that I can do to actually make that happen? So I'll write down things like in the morning when I'm having my coffee. Oh, there's our dog Evie. Oh, right there, right here. There she is. So don't mind her in the back. So what I'll do is I'll write that whole rhythm down. I'll just say, okay, this is what I do. I don't like it, but this is the honest truth of what my day looks like. From there, I'm going to cross out the things that I don't want to include in my rhythm, which is, the main thing is scrolling and wasting my time on Instagram. So I'm going to try and eliminate those things by switching it out with something else. So maybe when I'm making my morning coffee, instead of scrolling through Instagram, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Notion like I should and create my daily agenda so that I can look at my to-do list and I know exactly what needs to get done for this particular day. I don't do that every day. I try, but I don't do that every day. So how can I eliminate that distraction? How can I eliminate Instagram and eliminate that addiction to scroll? One thing that I do is I moved Instagram out of my main page, like my home screen with all my apps on it. I removed it from the first page and I moved it back. So that way it's not one of the first apps I see. So let me, if I can show you here, I don't have Instagram on there. I used to. It used to be in the top corner, but it's not there anymore. That way, first thing I do is I look at my main screen and I see my calendar. I see the weather for the day, and then I have my main apps that I need, so that I have, for example, my Libby app, which has all my audiobooks on there. I have Viber, which has my morning gratitude group chat, where where a group of us share what we're grateful for every single day, even on the weekend. So that's there. So I try to put things that are productive for me or help me on that first page of my phone screen, so that all the things that distract me aren't so easily accessible. It takes me more effort to be able to get to distractions. And so I'll be less likely to scroll through Instagram instead of pick something that will actually be useful for me. Okay, let me figure this out one more time because I really want to show you guys what's going on here. Okay. So for some reason you don't see it, and I'm not sure why. I want you to see my Google Chrome, but it doesn't do it, and I have no idea why. What am I doing wrong, guys? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I really can't figure it out, guys. I'm so sorry. I really wanted to share my screen with you today, but I can't do that. Nope, still not working. I don't know. All right, so how about we do this? Next Monday, I'm going to learn more about picture-in-picture because that is my big problem today. I'm going to figure out what's going on with my screen sharing, and then I will show you guys next week what my Notion setup looks like, both for the business and a little bit of my personal. That way you guys can really see how I set this up. And then on top of that, if you guys want, Notion has this great feature that helps you get started, which is templates. They create templates for you based on what you're trying to create. So if you're trying to create a CRM, they have a template for that. If you're trying to create a to-do list, they have a template for that. If you're trying to create a planner or a bullet journal, they have a template for that too. And so I can actually create templates from stuff that I've created from scratch and share with you guys. So next week, I'll be doing that for you. And like I said, I'm going to figure this out. I'm using this live streaming software for the first time. And so I really thought, like, I even tested this screen sharing thing. And I was like, oh yeah, it's sharing my desktop, but it won't share like the apps. It won't show you guys what's going on. So I promise I will navigate through that. I will figure it out, and then I will make sure that we will be ready for next Monday. It'll be around the same time, let's say between 10 to 11. So if you're not already subscribed, please do hit that notification bell so that you do know when I actually start the live, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I need to do this. When the baby naps, because otherwise you'll be hearing all his noisy toys, or you'll be hearing nursery rhymes and stuff playing in the background. So there's no way you're going to be able to, concentrate, because it already distracts me like no end. Hi guys. Which live stream software are you using? I'm using Ecamm. Heather actually recommended it, and so I totally opened it up and thought it was so easy. Like, I was playing around with stuff, and I was like, oh, I got this. It's totally no problem. But Ecamm is more confusing than I thought, I guess, because I cannot figure out why it's not sharing my my browser, my Google Chrome browser, which is weird because I can select Google Chrome when it asks what I want to share, but it's not showing up for whatever reason. It's just my blank desktop background. No idea why. So I promise I will get that done for next week's live. But man, I was so excited to show you guys and just kind of plan my week with y'all. How about I share, in the meantime, how about I share with you guys what I am going to take care of this week. So every week, Charlie and I actually have a business meeting. When you're running your own business and you're working, when you're working with a spouse or a family member or a friend even, it's really easy to get distracted. It's so easy to start talking about personal stuff and business stuff. And so we actually have a weekly standing meeting. That's so short. It's literally 30 minutes long, but it's just so that we can get on the same page and keep each other accountable of the things that we want to do to help move the business forward. So for us, Charlie and I take down the notes in Notion. I have a database, basically with all of our meeting notes, and then I turn those meeting notes into a to-do list for the entire week. Because for us, it doesn't necessarily matter what day things get done. It matters more that they get done within that week. But if for you, you're a daily task oriented person, do it that way. But for us, we live our lives week by week. So that's how we plan out our weeks. So I'll show you that next week, but I'll just let you know, for example, this week we planned out our entire Instagram strategy. If you're not following us already and you want to, you can follow our food business at Ninong's Dessert Lab. You can follow us there. And we also have our personal Instagrams, which I'll put in the description. So if you guys want to watch this later on, all of the links will be in there. But so we plan out our entire Instagram strategy on Mondays, so that we know what we're going to be posting. We typically try to post 4 to 5 times a week at least, and then stories on top of that. What's really good about food businesses, or if you're dealing with food at all, is people love to see the behind the scenes of what you're doing. People just love to see you baking in action or cooking in action, or even going to the grocery store to buy your supplies. People love that. So we try and do as much of the behind the scenes stuff as possible. And then another thing that we love to do is we love to share what other people are doing with our products or our ideas. So if one of our popular items is our ube pancakes, and we try and encourage people to tag us on Instagram or on Facebook so that we can share what they're doing with our pancake mix, whether it's just making pancakes for breakfast for their family, or they're trying something really cool. Someone made muffins with our pancake mix, someone made waffles and things like that. So we try to repost it so that people can get ideas on how they can innovate. And it encourages people to say, oh yeah, I did buy it last time. I bought that pancake mix last time, but all I did was make pancakes with it. Maybe I'll buy it again so I can make muffins, or I can make crepes, or I can make something else. So that's kind of our strategy when it comes to our social media, and we definitely need to plan it out. So a big part of our 30-minute meeting is planning out our social media strategy. And then the other half is saying, okay, what can move the needle forward for our business? What can move our business forward and help us grow, versus just being in the business and baking and doing production and doing our normal routine? What are the business growth strategies that we're going to focus on this week? So we talk about that as well. As an example, our projects for this week, let me open it up so I can share it with you. Some of our projects is to create an events calendar page for our website. That way, now that here in California, the economy is opening up a little bit more. Restaurants are doing more indoor dining. And so we need to pivot our business as the economy starts to pivot after this pandemic. I mean, we're still in it, but things are starting to change. And one of the things is we're starting to do more pop-ups. And before, we were only doing one pop-up a month. So it was really easy to just create a Facebook event page and invite people to it. Not a problem. Everyone knows that it's always at the same place. But now, starting in the month of May, we're actually going to be doing 2 pop-ups and 2 outdoor events. So now's the time where, people might want to know where we're going to be on a specific day. And so I want our customers to have access to that information and make it super easy for people to find. So that's one project, create an events calendar for our website. Another one is to do a cost analysis on one of our products. I know that we're making money on it, but if you ask me how much, I don't know exactly. And typically I could tell you exactly how much we make on each item, including labor and including utilities, everything thrown in. I'm able to figure out, what my cost analysis is. And because we're testing this particular product out, which is our black garlic longanisa. Longanisa is a Filipino breakfast sausage. We made our own version with black garlic, and we've been selling it for the past 2 months at our pop-ups, and they're doing really well. So I want to know exactly how much money we're making on it, just to be sure that our profit margins are correct. And when you're a food business, you want to make sure that your profit, or you're basically within 30%. That's the ideal mark. You don't want to spend more than 30% of what your actual retail cost is for a specific dish or item. So I want to do the cost analysis to make sure that we're not losing money on it. I know that we're not, but I just want to know the exact figures. So that's a project for me personally to work on, and I need to collaborate with Charlie on that because Charlie does the grocery shopping for the business, and so I need the receipts so that we can work on that together, and he can tell me his recipe so that I can break everything down by either tablespoons or cups or ounces or pounds or whatever it is. So it requires a lot of collaboration, and it is going to take time. So that's a project that we have working on this week. A couple other things that are in our pipeline is our pop-ups. So like I said, now that the economy here in Southern California, actually in the state of California in general, is starting to open up during, as things start to pivot out of this pandemic, we're definitely starting to see a lot more activity when it comes to in-person events. During the pandemic, when things were really, I was unfortunately seeing a lot of food businesses and other businesses closing down, online stores were thriving, and we had an online store and it was doing so well. Anytime we posted product, it would sell out within a day at most. And now we're starting to see our online store slowing down, and so we realize that we've got to adapt, and we've got to move so that we can move with the times, and we can figure out how to stay relevant with our customers and give them the access to our products in a way that they're expecting us to. I don't see us honestly opening up a restaurant in at least the next 3 years, but I can see pop-ups, outdoor events, and things like that being a very big part of our business model within that time period, because not only does it give us flexibility that we need because of our family, now that we have Micah, and we're trying to really figure out what the future of food looks like for us personally as a business. Pop-ups just seem to be the ideal situation for us until something changes. So nothing is set in stone nowadays, and we're 100% okay with that. And it's actually kind of exciting. It used to be a really scary thought, but not anymore. So we're trying to be as malleable and flexible as possible, and pop-ups gives us that option. So pop-ups is where it's going to be. Cost analysis. I love that. Cost analysis is a crazy thing. James and Mark said, very interesting to see the cost analysis of that. I knew nothing in the beginning when it came to, pricing out products and making sure that we were making money on things. To be honest with you, when we first started our restaurant, I just basically looked at what other businesses were charging, and I was like, yeah, that sounds fair. Let's charge that. I mean, if they're making money on it, then we probably will too. And, that's obviously not the way to conduct business, but that admittedly that's what we did. And, I'm sure we're not the only ones that were thinking that too. It's like, oh, well, this is a viable business. They're doing well. So if I just charge the same, I'll be, at the same page as my competitors. Or, what happens a lot is people will say, oh, if something is $14.99, I'll charge $13.99 because I'm newer. I'm a newer business, so to attract more people, I'll be cheaper than the industry standard, so that I can hopefully gain a little bit of traction, and then I can charge more later. No, don't do that. Take it from me. That was a mistake. What I should have done was I should have done my cost analysis from the beginning, and it's not easy, I can tell you that. But if you do the hard work in the beginning, as you grow, your cost analysis becomes a lot easier. And something that I can share actually in next week's live is the template that I have to help plug in the cost analysis, so that if I just, put in ingredients or, what my cost is, it'll also factor in rent and utilities and all that stuff, and it automatically generates it for me. It's not 100% just plug and play, because you do have to do a lot of conversion math depending on what it is that you're selling and what your recipe looks like. But that, I'm telling you, really helps. So maybe a good suggestion that I would have is, say, if rice, for example, is something that you serve in almost all your dishes, figure out how much rice costs per cup for you. So let's say, I'm just going to throw out a number here, but let's say that a 50-pound bag of rice is $20, and you use basically a cup of rice per serving. Then you have to do that math. You have to figure out how many cups is in 50 pounds, and then you have to divide your cost of the bag of rice for how many servings you get. And then you'll know how much rice costs you to make just in raw materials. And then from there you can say, well, I need this much water, the rice cooker uses this much electricity, and then on top of that, it takes 15 minutes, maybe, let's just say 15 minutes for an employee to make that rice. So you can really break it down and just say, okay, I know, not just ingredient wise, but I know really what my true cost analysis is. So there's a few tips for that. If you guys have any questions on cost analysis, I am more than happy to answer questions on that too. You can always DM me on Instagram, or you can put a comment down below on this video, and I'm more than happy to answer those questions. But yeah, I think we're almost coming up to, we've passed the 45-minute mark. Wow, it goes by really fast when you do a live. Who knew? Anyway, so those are my kind of tasks for this week. You'll see all of our, Instagram posts going up. We tend to do a post around, I'd say, lunchtime. We look at our analytics on our Instagram account to figure out when we get the most activity, or when our target market is actually on the platform, and we post from there. Something that we've been needing to improve on is our Facebook page. We've actually had to change our Facebook page, which is really sad because we had almost 3,700 followers on Facebook. Yeah, and we had to shut our original Facebook page down because I was trying to change the business name and Facebook wouldn't let me. So because of that, I actually had to create a brand new page and start syncing our all our posts to that instead, which is such a pain in the butt. But whatever. Fresh start, it's okay. Not a problem. And most of our business actually does come from Instagram anyway. So I'm really glad that we didn't have to deal with a new Instagram account, because I would be devastated if we lost our Instagram. But we still have it. So that's good. It's just a new Facebook page for us. And so we're going to have to build that up slowly but surely. But we will. Not a problem. Last project is the newsletter. So we used to send out at least a monthly newsletter once a month. And so it's been quite a while since I've actually sent out something to our email list, and that is a big one. Most of the people that are on that email list do not follow us on Facebook or Instagram. And so I want to send them an email to let them know what's been going on. A lot of people don't even know that we closed the restaurant, and people are commenting or sending us messages through email and saying, I didn't know you closed. I went there and the doors were closed. And so I think it's really important that I actually send them an email, let them know what's going on, and give them all the updates. So I think the main thing I didn't want to do is spam people, which is what I always think when I think about email newsletters. So my big goal is to try and figure out how to provide value in those newsletters without being too spammy. That's my main thing. So gonna work on that. That's something that's going to be worked on in this next week, because I want to share all of the new updates that's happening in May, and then we can get the ball rolling with the newsletter too. So that's pretty much it for me. If you have any, projects or to-dos that you need to be held accountable to and want to make sure that you get done in the next week, put them in the comments. I would love to help you with that. We can check in next Monday to see what we actually got done. But that's the whole purpose of these lives. I want to make sure that we're staying as productive as we can. I know life gets in the way because, that's just how it is. But what can we do to be more productive, to make sure we stay as on top of things as we can, and then look back on the time and realize, hey, we made more progress than we did. Because a lot of times we're so hard on ourselves of not doing enough, but we actually don't realize how much we really do. So that's a big part of why I want to do these live shows as well. So until next week, I will see you every Monday between 10-ish, 11-ish, so that we can get our productivity done together. Ooh, hi Heather. So girl, oh my gosh, did you see my text? I can't figure out how to share my screen. I thought I had it, and I don't know why it's not working. I am not able to share. I can only share like the background of my computer, but I can't share my browser. Even if I select Google Chrome, I have no idea why. So if I can hop on a call with you after, Heather, that would be great. So I can work on it with you. That would be awesome. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.